Alright, we're here for Tier C. The Challenge Series. And, if everything goes according to plan, I think this might be the best tier, because we have the best set of cars, as far as, like, who's driving them. Like, I think this is probably the most stacked you could ever get a Challenge Series lineup to be. I already went over it in the last episode, so I'll just scroll down the list. I think the biggest things here, this driver is making his debut. I'm back in this tier. There's still like a crap ton of GT40s. There's a big GT or Group A battle between Michael Krieger, Dietrich Hammer, and Fren Fidanzi, and then these two don't like each other at all, so I'd be interested to see how they treat each other on the course, which I'm going to go ahead and guess is going to be not very well. In this tier, like every other one up until the final one, so C, D, and E are all going to be 4-episode affairs of 4 races each. So you can see that is our race lineup for this episode. We get both of the public road courses out of the way in the first episode. Actually, this tier goes in alphabetical order, so as you can see, except for the finale at the Nordschleife. So yeah, let's just jump into it with the Barcelona GP circuit this time, not the MotoGP circuit, the full course with the chicane for the first time this year. And the starting grid of the first race at Barcelona is my stomach attempts to commit die. For no apparent reason. Well, I mean, there's nothing to comment on as far as points goes, because, you know, we don't have any points on the board yet. But from what I can point out, the Group A battle is very spread apart throughout the field, 2nd, 9th, and 13th. These two that hate each other start right behind one another, and I'm in between that, so that's a little sketch. And this game doesn't like the GT40s either. Oh, Krieger got an absolutely horrific start. I mean, like Thrasher, put him near the front, but the other two are dead. What's sad is Hyde almost hung up the helmet here after his disappointing, like non-competitive, like 12-race streak in the previous tier. You're just like, maybe this isn't working, but then he was reminded that this tier has him in the F40, which is a considerably better car than the 288 GTO. Now he could probably actually win a race. Also, this is a very red top 3. I'll have to add a little more red to the mix, as I think Akira is going to take 4th away from Krieger here. Maybe not. The M3 does have obviously better handling being a Group A car. And the Supra is kind of bottom tier, considering it's kind of transferring from being like high tier and tier B. Its horsepower scales it well, but that's it. Akira and Kazuya are duking it out, and I'm just kind of witnessing it like, help. I don't want to be here. Despite being hampered by Michael Krieger's horrific launch, it looks like Thrasher and Hyde are starting to make their way back to the leader. Hikari, who got, obviously a huge advantage from everybody else having to wait for the M3 driver to get moving. Lene's about to make herself up 3 places from where she started. Though, not to be outdone is Thomas O'Reilly, who's already into the points despite starting 14th. Maybe there's a reason the game put all those GT40s back there. They seem to be really fast. And Gina is making her first event in something that's not made by Mazda. I can't be sure whether she wishes she still had it or not. I mean, this wouldn't go any better if she had her RX-7, believe me. In this particular tier, the the Group A cars sort of serve the same purpose as like the MX-5 in Group A or in Tier A or Tier B's. Lotus is kind of. I mean, the Lotuses are still here with me and Taylor, and they'll also fulfill the same purpose as well. But if we get good starting grid spots, we can defend them with our cornering, but if we start last, like Fran here has, it's very hard for them to gain places because they don't have the horsepower to make passes. Speaking of passes, Gina and Taylor just about took each other to the dry cleaners going through the slow section. The Nissan, I think, is the better car, but the GT40 AI are more brave under braking. So they make up time in heavy braking zones with relative ease. And then they lose it all pretty much anywhere else because they're driving a car from almost 50 years ago. Actually, over 50 years ago. What am I talking about? From 66, not 56. So yeah, a car that's like the boomer car versus the new car that every like little 13-year-old kid has in a poster of in his room. Which one will come out on top? And also Krieger and Hammer are right on Hyde's rear wing, but they don't have the horsepower to ever pass him, I don't think. Oh, Thrasher's looking to maybe take the lead away, using his aggressive braking strategy. And nothing. That's a curb, and there goes that attempt. They're like dead even on power. At some point, Kazuya got ahead of Akira, and now here comes Thomas O'Reilly to try and pass Akira as well. And I think he'll succeed. Well, he has apparently used her bumper at some point. Clearly on Riley. But considering she's still 12th, I don't think she was, like, run off the road or anything. If he gets these next 3 corners right, he'll have one last chance through the hairpin to take the lead away last second. If he uses that ultra superlative late braking technique that these GT40 AI like to use so much. It's awfully far away, but I'd still not put it past it. I think we're just gonna have a repeat here. Yeah, we are. Well, it wasn't unpressured, but I'm pretty sure Hikari is going to win the first race of Tier C. It certainly helped that Michael Krieger didn't get off the line and held everybody else up. Thomas will go from 14th to 7th, but Linne will not score anything. And also he had the fastest lap of the race, so he was moving. And there's not much to talk about in the point standings, it's just the finishing order, so we'll move on to Black Cat County. In the starting grid of Black Cat County, and apparently they like the Italian cars here. The 2 Italian cars in the race are on the front row. Albeit unlikely, it's not impossible we get an under night 1-2 out of this, because Linne is starting in 5th place, and shouldn't have many problems passing Gina or Fran on this track. Takahata may be a different story because it's GTR. And the other 2 drivers that did well, the other 3 drivers that did well in the last race, none of them start in, actually, no. None of the top 5 besides Hyde start anywhere in the points. The top 5 was Hikari, who's 13th, Thrasher, who's 15th, Hyde's on pole, Krieger, who starts in 11th, so he's the closest, but he's also got the worst top speed, and then Hammer is starting 14th, who finished 5th. So, Kazuya and Hyde are really liking their odds of being the points leader coming out of this race, because they're the only ones that are probably going to score points in both races. Or rather, score good points. I mean, yeah, Thrasher or, I mean, yeah, Thrasher or, Hikari might come back to score, like, 1 or 2 points, but that's not going to be, you know, a top 5 finish, which I'd be disappointed if neither of these 2 managed that. I'd be confused if neither of these 2 managed that. Yeah, as expected, Linne didn't have too many problems getting around the those 2 red cars. Riley's up 2 places from where she started, and she again has rear bumper damage. Somebody else hit her again. I think Fran might have just... No, he didn't. I thought he smacked the wall just there. I mean, if he did, he didn't get any damage from it anyway. So it's the It's the reluctant hero protagonist versus the racing equivalent of a cross between Kazuya from Tekken and Takashi Nakazato from Initial D. That seems kind of a potent combination that I'm sure Hyde doesn't really want any part of. And once again, under heavy braking zones, Linne can stand a chance of keeping up with the duo, but that would be about it. There are a couple on this track. We're about to reach one right about now, but other than that, not much. Especially not when you do that. That's not helping. You? Oh wow, she's gonna turn that into a... Oh, she turned that into the wall apparently, but she almost made a pass out of that. That was aggressive. That Nissan's a lot heavier than your car, lady. But when's that stopped you before, I guess? Meanwhile, I'm running last. I've also clearly been run into. I don't know who did that, but... It wasn't Hikari, it wasn't Hammer. Maybe I just ran myself into the wall. Though, no, my rear bumper is what's damaged, so I'm confused. Nalyard vacuum, of course. I'm really not sure who's hit me or how they've hit me, unless they did and don't have any noticeable damage, but... Yeah, I'll be having some words, whoever it is, or with whoever it is. Unless it's the wall, in which case I can't really have words with that, so that's just awkward. Linne is gonna go for it again. GTR acceleration not doing quite as much as I'd expected it would, but now it's starting to pull. Neither of them have the cornering to make that without braking, so that's kind of awkward. And here comes a braking zone. Does Linne go crazy? Well, moderately. Not really that much, but it's enough to, for now, take away second place. But we have more chicane. We have more hairpins. Chicanes. What am I talking about? And I'm sure this is a very comforting sight for Hyde in his rear view. So the question becomes, with Linne's aggression, does she ever end up using it to try and take away the lead? Or does she ever get that far? We only have one lap to go, so I'm going to assume probably not, but stranger things have happened. Thrasher just slams into Riley. I'm sure she's probably used to that at this point. It's the third time it's happened in 2 races. Really, it's just like Under Night. It's down to the better car versus the better driver. Except the roles are reversed. GT40 is actually faster in this scenario, as far as pure lap time, but Hyde's, I mean, that's only because of the GT40's braking. Otherwise, it wouldn't be that good. So it's just kind of weird, but I think it's all semantics. If there were a 4th lap in the race, then maybe it would be relevant, but it just doesn't matter because the race is going to be over in just over a minute anyway. And there's only one place that Lene could even conceivably pass him, and I don't think she's going to be close enough for that by the time we get there. So this Riley's been passed by even more cars. And I think I saw that right. Yeah, I don't know what happened to you. We'll find out. Why'd that menu go away? It's like KRI. There it is. Alright, who's destroyed you? Or did you destroy yourself? Oh, I did it! Maybe he's the one who hit me. I don't know. It's too early to figure it out. Yeah, at this point I already have the damage, so... That was a brutal takeout. Call me DoorDash. I just took him out. Hyde, how are you locking up? Why are you locking up? Certainly, were there another lap, Lene would have a chance to take the lead away. But there isn't, so Hyde is going to win a race. Just like I said, his car could definitely do in this tier. Riley managed to escape with a singular point, and her life, seemingly more importantly. And the points leader scored 9th, so... But yeah, Hyde's got a pretty sizable lead for being this early in the championship because he's finished 3rd and then 1st. And now we will head to Brands Hatch for the 3rd race. We're in the starting grid of Brands Hatch, and I can tell you with relative certainty that Hyde is not going to be extending that points lead from there. And Hikari is in an okay place to take it away from him. He needs to gain 2 places. That dog is spoiled, man. Grandma just asked if he wants a treat, and he starts barking at her because of how long she's taking to give him the treat. Like, my God, Max. I mean, it's not his fault, totally. I mean, he's pretty much been given the Pavlovian treatment of you do literally anything, and as long as you don't try to run away or bite somebody, you'll get a treat. So, for anything, blame my folks to it. But anyway, beside the point, it's actually Thrasher in the catbird seat, though, who starts on the front row, could very easily pass Gina off the line, or if not that, into turn 2. And if Hikari cannot manage to score many points, Thrasher will probably take the points lead from him. Yeah, like that. That's what I'm talking about. And Gina didn't do anything. You have another Barcelona, more or less. But on a not some major level. Hikari's already up into third, so there goes Hyde's points lead unless he scores major points somehow, which... yeah, that's not happening. That's certainly not happening right now. There isn't really any hope of damage control here, because you have to pass one car every lap. And that includes this one, if he used to score anything. And considering the absolute gridlock that's happening, I don't think that's going to take place on this lap. Heck, to say it'll happen on the second lap is stretching it, no less. So yeah, I think he's done and dusted for now. He's had his 15 minutes of fame, but now it is Thrasher's time, basically. Hikari's probably going to get to second at some point, at which point it'll be his time, but for now, Thrasher probably has the points lead, like, at this exact moment. Assuming Taylor scores here, then that will mean that in 3 races, every single contestant will have scored a point or more. Lindney is down a point, or down a position, no points. So I guess technically I'm not wrong, but still. She's down a position from where she started, but I mean, I think she can probably make up 1 or 2 places. Hyde's, well, he's no longer in last, but clearly the Karma Chameleon in the starting grid decided that I didn't like the result of the last race. How'd that happen? Apparently Fidanzi has overtaken Hikari, despite having like half the horsepower. I guess Gino was really in his way. It's a very red top 4. Now, it's kind of bizarre about Kazuya is while he hates Akira, he doesn't really know Hikari very well. And therefore, despite being Akira's brother, he doesn't hate him. Taylor just locked up a little bit up there. Lene has made her way into points. And she's got 3 vehicles with considerably less horsepower than her ahead, so... if she plays her cards right, she may salvage 7th. Which, to be fair, wouldn't be salvaging, because she'd be finishing ahead of where she started anyway, so... I think she should at least be able to get at least 1 of them. Because I thought for a second she was going to just pile into the Mercedes. Linnea's going for 9th. Hammer panicking. Hammer also being shoved off the road by Linnea. But she's made up the place, and I mean, the internet character is a little bit aggressive, just in general. Like even outside of the challenge series, the ones that are actually in the game, they're in a fighting game. They have to be a little bit aggro, just generally speaking. Meanwhile, there's literally nothing happening at the front. As much as it really seems like there should be more going on, there just kind of isn't. Thrasher's got a huge lead. He probably feels like he's racing against Gran Turismo AI right now. The kind of lead he's got. Where are you going, Fran? Okay. Well, something finally happened, but man, not how I expected it. Also, I've been overtaken by 2 people, because Krieger, I think, just followed Linnea through. I just piloted the same person twice. I don't really think there's much else going to happen in this race. There's not much time for anything else to happen at that rate. Linnea might make a last-second pass on Taylor, but that's the only thing I can fathom. Because turns 1 and 2 are kind of the hot spots of like, if you're gonna pass somebody, you do it here and pretty much nowhere else. That is, when you're an AI. Thrasher wins quite dominantly. I think he won by like 7 seconds. Okay, 6. I think Hikari has probably done enough to be the points leader. But it'll be close between him and Thrasher. Hyde scored nothing. Nope, Thrasher's the points leader. And 5 points separate the top 3. And 10 points between the top 5. I thought Linnea had more points than that. Christ. Well, we'll get to the Highlands after the dog stops losing his mind. That could be in 2 minutes or in 45 minutes. There's no real way of knowing. Sounds like a lot of Supra! And, Hyde got yeeted again. But, again, also should be a track that he can actually pass people at. Looking pretty good for Thrasher, who's going to be starting the highest of all of the championship competitors, although Hikari is not far away. And yeah, like really, I don't think a ton's gonna change here. I mean, if this race goes the way I imagine it in my head, Linnea is gonna make up like 3 points on Thrasher, And Hikari is going to probably be third, maybe fourth, if he somehow can't find a way around one of the Supras. Perhaps not. Never mind. Right, left-hand corner. So we finally switched to the real Highlands circuit. That doesn't, you know, the lap lasts more than 48 seconds. And hence why we're back down to a 3-lap race. Thrasher, there's the grass there. Typically that's not good for sports cars. As Linnae is already ahead of Taylor to reach the podium spots. She now has the duo of Supras to contend with, and she will be the leader. Meanwhile, speaking of, Hyde is... well, I mean, it's a traffic jam back here. It always is, especially on the first lap, but... I mean, it's a Ferrari. Of course it's going to have a good top speed. I don't know what else you're expecting here. Does he outbrake the Group A? No. But we have another straightaway. Also, Krieger's gonna hit the wall. That's certainly hampered his speed. He's got significant front end damage, but I don't think that matters per se because it's not suspension or engine damage. Speaking of damage, I think I saw somebody else up here going a little bit hog wild. Just about running over Thomas O'Reilly is Fidanzi. Just about keep it together. Unexpected shift. Gina will be next on Kido's list. I think that's gonna be a while now, though. A while from now, rather. And speaking of Supras, obviously Linnae gonna have a hard time passing the Supras just because they have such acceleration. She'll probably have an advantage to the corners, despite, you know, the archaic suspension that the GT40 runs on. It's just a matter, you know, of, like, straightaways. There's a few of them on the track. And she has a small advantage, but only a small one. And the security got very loose there out of that turn. Hyde has actually trying to overtake Gina. I didn't think it'd be happening this fast. The Ferrari can out-accelerate the Supra just barely, though it looks like, so that is his place for the taking. I'm going the wrong way. I'm trying to get back up here. And I'm just like, ooh, let's go to the bottom, right? No, wrong GT40. I was trying to get to Thomas and then realized that that's not who I'm looking for. I am defending for my very life, but, like, it's a Lotus. It doesn't really have any kind of top speed to speak of, so I'm gonna get absolutely consumed. Yeah, I think the Supras might have this one. I don't think Linnae or either GT40 here, as Thrasher has caught up. I don't think either GT40 really has the stuff to get ahead of these two Supras. Linnae is gonna get awfully close here, but I still don't think she can. I don't really know if she can close the case or not. No. No, not when you do that either. Although exiting wide is actually giving her a better exit. Maybe she knows something I don't. As sad as that would be. Still nothing. And she can't take forever. If she does, I mean, she does have to pass Akira at some point, because now the big red devils back here are, well, there. And if she exists for too long and not getting ahead of Akira up here, one of them is eventually going to just pounce. And I know how potent that can be at this track. That could end up with somebody in a guardrail. No, leaderboard. Either the leaderboard was lying, or I just don't know how to read it. But I thought Hyde was still in 11th, but no, he's in 10th, and probably passing me in the not so distant future. Bumpy cobblestone roads. That 1960 suspension, probably not a huge fan. Oh, I thought Riley would have damage being like a second and a half off the field. No, she shoots that off the base. In a plot twist, I think Thrasher might actually be trying to find a line on the other Ford GT40. Obviously, he wants any points ahead of Hikari that he can take, because right now they're not. He's not going to be ahead of him. And it will be tantalizingly close, but unless she tries something aggressive on the brakes here, she will do precisely that. Does she actually take the spot, though? Oh, yeah, pretty easily, actually. Akira, I think, maybe wanting to just get rid of the pressure. Just pretty much let her by, but, like, the pressure's not done yet. There's still, like, 3 more people there, buddy. And Thrasher looks to put another car between himself and Hikari. There's a guardrail there. Outside can give you a better exit, but not enough, I don't think. These two are going toe-to-toe through multiple corners. This is very rare. They've still not divided. There we go. Finally, Akira has managed to get back ahead of Thrasher. A missed opportunity for him to probably take the points lead off that if he had, you know, made it stick. I don't think the two GTR drivers are going to be passing each other, so Thrasher's got to do it himself. Ah! Hyde is now in 8th. He's managed to do some kind of damage mitigation. I don't think he's going to be able to take 7th away, though. As Darius Burrell, for the first time in quite a while, is going to hit the last turn, and he is going to win a race, the Highlands, in Tier C. Linne will take 2nd after a very long journey. Thrasher apparently showing some displeasure with Akira. I don't know if that's in line, per se. It was still clean racing. I think the guardrail is just kind of there, you know? He didn't push you into it. There's still room to work. Oh, good lord. What happened to Taylor? On this track, it's a pretty high chance that it was self-inflicted. No, maybe not. There's the car. It's Hyde. I mean, yeah, Hyde was there, but like that wasn't really his fault. There was still plenty of room there. There was an entire lane on the road for Taylor. And she just smacked that wall, and physics has had enough. We're having another Nürburgring, aren't we? This isn't going to take as long as the Nürburgring for her to get back around, but man, it's going to take a while, dude. We will reconvene when the AI eventually limps its way around to the start-finish. Unfortunately, I literally cannot end the race. Like, there's no checkered flag in the corner, so the race isn't considered official yet, and therefore... Please keep doing that. Please just start randomly flooring it. So I've decided to take things into my own hands, because this isn't the Nordschleife, and therefore, you know, a shorter drive. I'm going to try and catch up to her, using the little, like, car I have to use because I have to be in the race physically. And see if I can smack her AI so hard it retires and saves, well, me, more than anything else, a little bit of time. Although, in all reality, she's actually almost at the finish line anyways, so, like, that's kind of awkward. Because these are the last 2 turns. But it has still killed time. Maybe I could just push her at this rate. Go! That didn't do anything. There can be other cars. Oh, shoot. Hi, how are you? Okay, the race is done, the race is done. We are moving on. I was not ready. Alright, well, the race is over. It took Taylor 9 minutes to get back around. And that is it for episode 1. It is a 10-point lead for Thrasher. I've clearly miscalculated something. Huh, okay. That's impossible! Wasn't it 30, 27, 25 before? Moving on. That's impossible. I'm either stupid... I'll have to look back in editing.